Good morning, everyone. Hi, I'm Cheryl Carr, your work doctor, and this is the Achieve with Dr. C broadcast. I hope you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving long weekend. I know I did. It was perfect. It was just so perfect, peaceful, good food, good times. Got the tree up, got everything decorated. It's been great. I can't complain. And I pray the same for everyone else. Um, Today's show, I'm going to be dealing with a topic that is kind of meaty. I'm going to turn these phones off because the volume, they'll keep pinging if I don't. But if you're not following me on Facebook and my Dr. Cheryl business page, please head on over there and follow, as well as if you're not following me on YouTube, head over to YouTube, click like and share because I have an open page and then I have a private page for my clients and my corporate clients so that everyone's identity isn't discovered. But if you're not following me, please go over there and follow me on and subscribe. Click that little red button and subscribe. That way you get advanced notifications and you know when I'm on the air. And you'll know in advance. Um, a lot of people ask me to tag them. I love you guys, but I don't have time to tag everybody. If you subscribe, I don't have to tag you. It will tell you when I'm on the air. Hey, good morning, cuz. Happy holidays. Hope all is well. You're doing great. Good to see you on here. Thank you for your faithfulness. You're always in attendance or viewing, and I appreciate that. And today's subject, what we're talking about, I don't know if you saw the description, but we're talking today about healing a rift or how to reconcile with family or close friends that are family after a rift because it is a common thing. My theme all month has been family business. I've talked about regression, the behaviors that we resort to or default to with our family members, especially if there is any trauma or drama, which we all have. I mean, no family is perfect. Every family has dysfunction. Every family has issues that they have to work through. It's just a matter of how you work through them and if you suppress them or repress them versus deal with them. So, anyway, healing a family rift is the subject today. Last week, I dealt with how to deal with toxic family members. And I did that on purpose because I knew we were going to be spending time with our family members that may be toxic. And when you get together with the family, things always happen. It's just inevitable when you get that many people together, even if it's for a festive occasion like the holidays. Um, I I know already if you don't have a plan and if you don't know how you want to be treated, when you walk back into that family environment, you resort or reflect or default back to whatever your self protective behaviors were for that particular family unit. It's just human behavior. I hope no one feels badly about the fact that there's just people in your family you don't talk to well, they don't talk to you well, or you guys just don't get along. You're not a good fit personality wise. But I submit to you, you can still have the relationship that is family, which, with your family, you hope to have a relationship where you can relate to one another. But for me, the relationship I have with you is dictated by your behaviors. Past behaviors predict future behaviors. It's just, people change. But after 25, your frontal lobe is fully formed and your behaviors are what you normally like to act like. And if you have a history of behaving a certain way, and that behavior isn't what I let over my boundaries, I just don't deal with you. Yes, Lord. I know that's right, cousin. I just choose how I want to be treated, and I also choose how I want to treat other people. As much as is possible with me, I want to be at peace. And if that peace means I don't deal with you, I won't. But I don't deal with people from a rift. I have learned the power in forgiveness. Even if you don't get the apology you think you deserve, even if they never change, which you can't change other people, which we talked about last week when we dealt with dealing with toxic family members and toxic behaviors. So, because you know you can't change them, that doesn't mean you can't forgive them and you can't move on from a rift and heal from a family dynamic that doesn't isn't good. And we all have them. We move in and out of difficult relationships with our family unit all the time. And it's a matter of how you do this that is the most important. Now, forgiveness is not forgetting this. I learned that from a Bible teacher that I admire greatly. And I miss her. I need to look her up again. But anyway, forgiveness is not forgetting this. That is not something human beings are good at. We don't forget things the way God does. God casts things away from him and he remembers them no more. It is very hard to deal with the human brain and memory unless you go through a process of dealing with the pain, dealing with the issue. And that still doesn't mean you forget it. It just means you learn how to move past it. So, in doing that in a rift, when something happens, a rift is when you're estranged due to an interaction or behaviors with the family that's close family that people don't just drift apart. Sometimes it's a significant happening or behavior or interaction that causes you to separate. Arguments, fights, um, anything that causes estrangement. And the reason why it's important to heal from that isn't just because you want to get back into the same relationship with them, because you can make that choice based on whatever caused the rift, that the relationship needs to change, the proximity needs to change, the closeness, the interactions need to change. And can I just tell you that you have the right to make that choice? There is nothing wrong with you if you decide there are just certain people in your family you're not going to interact with heavily. It's just the way it is. But that also doesn't mean you can't interact with them momentarily or for a period of time and show them love, peace, joy, understanding, and then get from around them. That's the great thing about not living with people. And I'm not using this particular subject that I'm dealing with, may or may not apply for people you live with. Okay. That's a little bit different dynamic. I'm talking about family members you're estranged from that you don't live with. And the pain is compounded a lot of times because the people that you have the rift with may not seem to even care or may be toxic. And their whole goal, anytime they come around you or they're with you, is to cause discord, disruption, anger people, get gossip going, whatever their toxic behavior is that we talked about last week. Well, It's just people that live messy. And that doesn't mean you have to. I personally choose not to live that way. I stay out of people's business. Rarely do I gossip. I'm not perfect, but rarely. It's just not a behavior I practice for a long, long time. Simply because it doesn't feel good, doesn't produce anything positive, and other people's businesses is not that interesting to me. I deal with a lot of stuff during my life, and other people's business isn't top on my list to find out. I kind of stay in my own lane. So, what is the behavior that you're trying to get past and heal a rift with a family member, a close family member, that something hurtful happened, and now you're estranged? You're actively rejecting each other. And rejection is the most difficult emotion for human beings to experience. It's at the root cause of so many things. And this is why I'm saying the need to heal a rift, it's for you and for them. It's not a releasing them from whatever they did to you that you didn't like, nor is it them releasing you from whatever you did to them that they didn't like. It's just saying the issue is not going to irretrievably break the relationship that we have. And rejection or separation sometimes is a part of healing. Sometimes you just need your space. And to separate, think about things until you can bring your behavior back in line with the way you want to show up for other people. I don't like arguing. Now, I will argue. If you get me on the right moment, on the right subject, but I don't feel good living like that. I don't feel good banging with my family. I don't feel good banging with anybody. It just doesn't feel good. Active rejection or estrangement is painful. And how do you get past it? How do you heal? How do you move past the rift? Some of y'all had rifts from Thanksgiving dinner just this week. So hopefully this information is timely for you. Now, if you have a family pattern of this with toxic people, the healing process is a little bit different versus something happened. Yeah, banged or something happened at the family get together, and now there's active rejection or estrangement. And please don't tell people they need to get along better. Please don't push that without also providing the tools to get along better. That is something that always made me nuts when I was a child, because my mother was big on sticking together. And a lot of families are like that. You stick together no matter what. Even if you got somebody just doing the fool or somebody really abusive and disruptive and destructive and toxic, you're still made to hang out with that person, just waiting on the abuse or the rejection or the bad behavior or being cussed out or cussed at, talked about, your relationships talked about, all those things that happen when people are estranged. And the biggest denominator with active rejection or active estrangement is people feel forced to get along with that person because they're family, or forced to have to deal with them in spite of never getting an apology, them not appearing sorry. They don't care, actually. In matter of fact, some people love this disruption and the attention it brings them so much that they just look for the opportunity to continue the drama. They don't want to heal it. So, how do you deal with that family member? Last week, I told you you need to have your own plan, and your plan should include how you're going to act, what you're going to do to detach or remove yourself, and then also the length of time that you would spend in that environment. And I hope you guys did your homework. I hope last week you decided before you got around your family, before you had to encounter that toxic person, that you had a plan of action that served you well. Because I know the importance of that. Because sometimes the best fight, not sometimes, the best fight is the fight you never fought. That leaves you nothing to have to regret saying, no one you have to regret hurting, and it saves blows because words matter, not just what's said, but what's meant by what's said. And once you say something, you can't unring it. You can't make it go back and make it unheard or make the feelings it evoked of no consequence. You just can't do that. It's not possible. So, first step to healing a rift is laying groundwork. It's the same as making a plan before you go. You have to make a plan for why you want to reconcile. You have to think that through because sometimes the separation should be permanent. Sometimes the separation has to be a consistent detachment from that person who refuses to change or refuses to deal with you in a manner that you both feel good about. But lay a groundwork for and understand why you want to reconcile. Why is it that this person is someone that you want an active relationship with? Even if it's family, you don't have to get down with everybody just because they're blood. And we say it all the time as a colloquialism, all skin folk and kinfolk. I take people by how they treat me and how they respect my boundaries. That's the relationship I have with people. I have people that I'm blood related to that I would take a bullet for, that I would live my life to make sure they're okay. And then I have other kinfolk that if I never see them again, never talk to them again, I'm cool. And they probably feel the same way about me. But that is a dynamic that was chosen. Chosen. I don't unconsciously just get rid of people. I'm very deliberate in what I allow into my life. And I hope you are too, because to do otherwise is a victim type of behavior. And as adults, we do get to choose, unless you live with them and married them or you gave birth to them. That's different. Remember, I said a moment ago, it's a whole different toolkit to deal with. We're not dealing with that right now. So, lay the groundwork for why you want to be reunited with this family member, why you want the rift to heal. What is your active participation in the rift? Can you acknowledge your behaviors that might not have been the best? Can you admit you need to ask for forgiveness? Can you admit you were wrong? It's not always about being right. I used to say all the time, I'd rather be loved than right. And the truth of the matter is, I'd rather be both. I'd rather be right in the way I treat people and talk to them, but I'd also like to be loved and loving, love able. And that's hard. It's hard to sometimes say to yourself, every relationship is not worth saving. There is good and goodbye. Some things you just need to close the door to. Some bridges you do need to burn so you don't go back over them. Only you can make that decision. That's why it's important to sit down with yourself and talk about and lay groundwork for healing a rift. That'll help you make a good quality decision, especially if you do decide you want to heal the rift, but the other person doesn't. Because again, you can't change other people. Now, there has to be a period of time where once you've done the groundwork and you decide, yeah, this is somebody I want back in my life, this is a wrong behavior that I need to apologize for, or I really need to hear them say they're sorry, give them a chance to explain themselves. So you've laid the groundwork, you've made the decision, you're going to um, accept your part in the estrangement, accept your part in the active rejection, which again are difficult emotions for anybody to handle unless they're narcissists and they're broken. But again, that's a whole different subject. Second thing is, don't expect them to see your point of view. This comes down to good communication skills, and we talked about that earlier this year. Trying to understand someone else's communication style so that when you talk to them in a way they can hear you and understand you, not just the way you want to talk. You kind of make an allowance for the fact that you have to change the way you talk. I tell mothers this all the time. You cannot talk to everyone, especially adults, like they're one of your children. Women have a huge problem with this, and they don't even realize it until somebody calls them on it. You tend to talk to everybody like they're a child, or like you have to tell them what to do. That's not fun for an adult. That gets old real quick. So anyway, I'm going off on a tangent. Don't expect the other person to see your point of view. Expect to have to explain it in I statements, not you did this, so you made me feel like this. That's always contentious. It's always going to start the argument, open the wound up differently that you may not, you're trying to heal it. You're trying to fix it. You're trying to get back to an active relationship. So don't expect them to see your point of view. Actively talk to them with I statements. I feel hurt that this was said, and that's why I behaved or reacted that way, because it hurt me, or I didn't like it, or it felt abusive to me. Those type of I statements. And you can go back through some of my other broadcasts or just Google good communication with I statements so that you talk about you and understand that may help them see your point of view, but that doesn't mean they will. Okay. The third thing, don't expect an apology. Now, this is difficult for a lot of women. I hate to say this. Women are not the best apologizers. We're the best explainers and users of a lot of words. But in my estrangements with women, we're not good at just saying, hey, I'm sorry, I was wrong. Hey, good morning, sis. Hey there. How are you? Women have, I don't know what it is. I know I have a problem with apologizing. It's hard to not want to explain your position versus just say you're sorry. Even if you're wrong, even if you're right, just say, I'm sorry. I did not mean to hurt you. Yeah. I'm glad you're good, sis. That's a blessing. It's good to see you again. So, another thing about not expecting an apology is to be able to identify specifically for the person what an apology would look like for you, because it's not enough just to tell me you're sorry for something, it's more important to me that not only are you sorry, but the behavior will change, or the way we talk to each other will change, or the way we treat each other will change, or we'll stay out of that particular subject for discussion. So avoid telling them your apology very vague, like saying, I'll try and do better. Mm. When I hear that from people, I literally have to chew my tongue to not inject specifics. And I'm annoying like that. But when you tell me I'll try and do better, I want to know doing what? What are you going to do better about? Especially if I haven't been specific with you about what your apology should look like as far as future behavior, not just telling me words, because you really aren't sorry if you don't make an attempt to change yourself. And again, I can't change you. I can't tell you what to do. I can only tell you what you won't do to me. So here's what I mean by what I'm saying to you about not expecting an apology, and about how to give an apology that isn't vague with things like, I'll try and do better, or I'll try and be more respectful. Those things are vague. I try to say, the next time this subject comes up, I will make sure I don't repeat what I did that upset you. I will make every effort the next time I talk to you. I won't raise my voice and I won't use that tone. I will make every effort the next time this subject may come up, or I start feeling this way that I'm feeling, I may decide to just be quiet. So I avoid doing what I did that hurt you. Different types of apologies. Very, very difficult to learn, but you can do it. And respect means different things to they're very different things to people, and especially to men. Here's an area where women don't even realize how we step on a man's toes when it comes to respect, which is as important to them as it is for us to be loved. They're two real needs we have as genders that I wish we spend more time trying to understand. Their need is different than ours. Men tend to not want to feel those ishy-gushy feelings of love as much as they feel loved when you respect them, when you talk to them a certain way, when you understand their need to lead and protect, and not make them dominant, but make them able to be a man. So anyway, getting off on another tangent. The fourth thing, first was don't expect them to see your point of view. Accept your part in the rift is the first thing to helping heal a rift. The second thing is to don't expect them to see your point of view, and be able to understand how to articulate your point of view with words that are I statements and not blaming statements like, if you hadn't done this, I wouldn't have, that's never good. The third thing is don't expect an apology. Also, being able to apologize specifically and not vague, like, I'll try and do better, or I'll try and be more respectful, but to actually apologize, because you're going to mean it if you're really apologizing. And oh, thank you, Ron. I'm glad this is good information, because I find it helpful. And learning these skills has helped me have a much better relationship with family and close friends. But that apology, that's a real apology, includes specifics about what you will or will not do. So learn that. The fourth thing is don't expect the other person to change. Remember I said after the age of 25, you pretty much, your frontal lobe is fully formed, which just means the way you think, the way you act is fully formed. You're in a habitual way of behaving and doing things. And your preferences and likes and dislikes are pretty firm. So it's hard to change at our age. It's not impossible. We can change, but it's incremental and it's slow and it's probably at a lower level than if you just, like I said earlier, sometimes you just have family members you don't like, and they don't like you, and that's fine. Just because they're related to you doesn't mean they have to like you. And just because you're related to them doesn't mean you have to like them. It's okay. But what we should always do is treat each other with respect and love. I can love you and not like you. I can love you and feed you with a long handled spoon. I cannot like you and talk to you with love and respect and then get from around you. I can do that. I've proven that so, to myself, and I've had to learn to do that. So it's really a good idea not to expect the other person to change. And I talked a lot about that last week, talking about toxic people and toxic behaviors. So understand that you may never get the apology you want. You may never see them stop doing whatever it is they've done that caused the rift or caused you guys to actively reject each other. That's okay. The final thing in healing a rift is to make a decision to keep a door open. This is where I consider myself not to be God, and I don't try to assume anything about someone, that I actively allow someone to just be who they are, and to understand I can leave a door open for someone that maybe they will change. And I don't close myself off where I'm unapproachable or I tell people you're dead to me. I've done that in the past. It was that's some hurtful rejection when you tell someone they're dead to you. And a lot of times, um, it doesn't have to go that far. With a little bit of humility and a whole lot of forgiveness, you can keep a door open to restoring a relationship at some point when you see consistent change behaviors. Now, that doesn't mean you open the door for abuse. It doesn't mean you open the door for someone to repeat the behavior. I'm just saying being willing to forgive is so important. And remember, forgiving is not forgetting this. It just means you're not in active estrangement or active rejection of that person and their involvement in your life. So that's the broadcast for today, How to Heal a Rift. Next month in December, we are going to talk about life planning. I'm going to share tools with you and the challenge for the end of the month with you to help you decide what you want your life to look like in 2022. And trust me, I remember doing this in 2019. I've done this since 2012, where I've created a life plan. I've spent time fasting, praying, and seeking God for what's going to happen during the next year. And I can assure you, 2020 was not on my vision board. I knew something major and life changing was going to happen. I had no idea. So I want you to be fluid and open with it. But I do want to teach this. I do want to teach you about life planning, weekly planning, monthly planning, day planning, and goal meeting, not just goal setting. Because goal setting is fun. It's what everybody loves to do, vision boards and plans and all this stuff. But what we don't like to do is the active behaviors you have to consistently have to actually achieve. And that's why that's my ministry. It's all about achievement, and it's all about helping you. And you're welcome, sis. All I'm sharing with you guys, like I said, I'm not giving psychological advice, even though I'm qualified to do so. All I'm sharing with you is information and things that I do that work for me in my life and work for those that I've taught it to. Because it was taught to me, I find it valuable and I love to share it. This is my way of giving back to the world, helping people recover and get the life they want and deserve. So, teaching you life planning in December, leading up to the challenge that I will be doing, and finally getting my third ebook done and getting my book that is still tentatively titled, getting that done. Every time I just about get it done, something happens and changes the whole trajectory of what I wrote. It's almost like I wish I hadn't chosen the subject, which is post traumatic growth. It just keeps changing because the world is so rapidly changing. Anyway, I pray something was said. Thank you, Victoria. This was helpful to you, and the information is something practical you can use to help heal a rift. Decide what you want, lay the groundwork for it, and then set the time to do these things with that person you may be estranged from. I I have found it feels so much better for me to reach out, ask for the conversation, use these tools, have these things in mind and in place, and then if the relationship needs to permanently end, that's fine. And if we can start down the road to reconciliation and not repeating what caused the break, um, that's fine too. I have found having these things and these tools in my kit have helped me. Um, I have to think I don't have an active estrangement with anyone. And when I say active estrangement, that means there's nobody I've banged with or beefed with that I've not talked to or forgiven or had the ability to be around them and still treat them with love and respect. Now, that does not mean there's not people I have closed the door to, and I want them to eat, just not at my table. So, anyway, I pray you have a blessed week. The Achieve with Dr. C broadcast is changing. I know I've been saying this since October, but we are changing because I took on a contract and that contract demands way more of my time. So I may be moving to the weekends. We'll see. I'm not sure yet when this will work, or I may have a moving target until I find a pace and a time that works. But because this is after the holidays and my engagement doesn't demand a strict schedule, I can incorporate these broadcasts. So stay tuned, making sure you subscribe, like, and follow so you can stay on top of these broadcasts. Some of you guys, I've told you this since last year, and you still ain't clicked that subscribe button on YouTube. I don't understand it. Now, my private groups, the ones you can't see, they're so good about signing up. If I tell them to do that, they go to the group and they sign up. It's just my friends and family that are on my Facebook. Why y'all ain't following me? I have a business page. It's Dr. Cheryl Carr. You can see my mean mug, the picture right there. Also, the Achieve with Dr. C YouTube channel. Go subscribe, please. then you won't have to ask me to tag you when I'm online. It will send you a notification if you turn those on. Okay? Have a blessed rest of your day. Thank you for joining me on the Achieve with Dr. C broadcast. I'm Cheryl Carr, your work doctor. See you next time. Bye.